Hey, how's everybody doing? All right, let's see here. So, first of all, I want to make sure that I thank the Boston Foundation. It's really an honor to be here. And, we submitted an application. We felt very strongly that our proposal was in line with what the foundation was looking for, but to be selected has really been a true honor. My name is Rainier Moquette. I am co-founder and chairman of the board for Latino STEM Alliance. Joining me here today will be Dr. Carol Blake from Boston Public Schools Achievement Gap Office. And for us, the way that we envisioned our program, the way we wanted to communicate it, was through the use of our tree. We felt that it's the best representation of who we are as an organization. Much like a tree, you plant a seed, you nurture that seed, and over time, you have an investment that keeps on giving. And that's really the crux of our program. It's something that allows you to contribute and know that for years to come, you're going to be able to continue to leverage from its benefits. Over the past few years, there's been an increased focus over growing the number of professionals in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math, very commonly referred to by the acronym of STEM. There's also an increased focus on the demographic shifts that we've seen in the United States, and also on the fact that by not providing underserved youth with access to opportunities, access to the type of resources that perhaps my daughter will once have, it has a detriment on society as a whole. I can tell you that very often when we're in these circles, we hear about the opportunity gap, we hear about the achievement gap. Yet, as an urban youth myself, someone who went to 10 different schools between kindergarten and 12th grade and lived personally the crime, violence, and very often the challenges that we experience in urban neighborhoods, I can tell you that the biggest challenge of all is the inspiration gap. My friends, I'm here to tell you that regardless of how many opportunities you can give someone, if they're not inspired, they will not achieve. And it is at the inspiration that our journey really begins. First of all, what we want to make sure we do is clarify for these kids the path to success. There's a reason why our kids spend so much time practicing on a basketball court. It's because they understand the path. They practice, they maybe get a scholarship, they go to the NBA, they buy their mom a house. Well, what's the path for pursuing careers within STEM? What's the path to success via economic and, or better said, academic achievement? What is that path? We want to make sure that these kids understand clearly what that path is. Two, we want to make sure that we create a catalyst for inspiration in everything we're doing. We want to create a platform that allows us to ignite a spark in the mind of a child. If you do that, then what you're opening is the door for an academic forest fire. Yet in order for us to do that, of course, we have to first get their attention. And the only way that we're going to get their attention is by building activities that are exciting, that are engaging, that are relevant to their day-to-day. So the way that we're doing that is through a robotics program, which, candidly speaking, we've been doing this program for about 2 years now, and it's something completely unique. None of the kids that we've ever worked with have ever seen anything like this. So, what we also want to make sure we're doing is creating a platform for them to pay it forward. We want to instill in these kids a sense of community where they want to go back, and the same contribution that is being given to them, that they're motivated to give to the next generation coming forward. So, that being said, collaboration is truly the root of success. This is too big an issue for us to try to take it on individually. We need to recognize that our collective strength is necessary if we really want to move the needle and be successful. We need to come together. Within this program, Latino STEM Alliance, What we do is we serve as an aggregator of resources. We bring together programs and activities in a systemic way, in a consistent way, and we deliver that to existing community organizations and public schools, and we want to make sure that we provide them access to resources that they would otherwise not have. So essentially what we're doing is providing a value add to existing programs and making sure that in doing so, our students have access to opportunities that they would otherwise not have. We're partnering with Boston Public Schools Achievement Gap Office, whom of course provides the school where the program is taking place. They recruit the students that we're going to be working with, and also allow us to engage the parents in a very meaningful and effective way. The work that Latino STEM Alliance STEM Facilitator does is then augmented by students from Northeastern University. These students come, serve as role models for the middle school students that we're going to be working with, and essentially motivate them to begin to think about a college opportunity, and essentially begin to envision themselves as a college student themselves. And of course, our partnership with Suffolk Construction gives us an opportunity to bring in STEM professionals and provide a real-world context to the hands-on programs that the kids are doing. These people are challenging the ideas of these kids. They're challenging them to explain why they're doing this, why they're doing that. And they're also outlining clearly how the things that they're learning in the classroom, learning via these hands-on programs, are applicable to the real world. So for us, again, it's all about making sure that we're delivering the right ingredients in order for us to be successful. With the college students, again, giving them a path, giving the middle school students a path towards college education, and with our professionals, again, providing a real-world context to what's happening. Now, to discuss the impact of the program, we'll have Dr. Carol Blake outline that for us.
We start off, well, first of all, let me ask you, how many of you out there would like to take a robotics class? If we could teach you, look around. Now, but every hand is raised. So let us talk about the tree. Renee has talked about the roots and all that goes into it, the watering. And then, as you can see, we have a beautiful tree. And what comes off from the tree are the fruits. But what I want to talk to you, the fruits are our students. But how do we get our students to become the fruits of the tree that we need and the roots of all of our communities? Oh, wrong way. Tell I need a robotics course. So first we talk about 4 ways that we do it. One of them is experiential learning. Now we know, research shows that boys learn differently than girls, and that the educational system is really designed to instruct girls. And sometimes our boys don't get it as quickly. So the idea is that when we look at experiential learning, what are some of the factors that we really need in order for our boys to be successful? One is that boys need more space. How many of you have been to schools and you find that boys are not only just laying at their desk, but they're laying all over everybody else's desk and spread out? Because they need more space. But also, they need more processing time. Sometimes we ask questions and some of the boys don't get it as quickly. Girls are hands up and raising it and want to be noticed. So sometimes our boys need more processing time. Now, there are other factors that are really contribute to sometimes with our Black and Latino boys. Not only just those two, but I also have found 2 other factors. One is that they require relationship building. They need to know and have a connection with the person that's teaching them. Because out of that relationship comes the trust factor, creating trust factor. Because Black and brown boys, if they feel that they can't trust you or you don't trust them or you don't have that connected relationship, they'll listen to you, nod their head and all that. But they're really not making that connection. They're just appeasing the adults. The next factor is hands-on activities. Give a young man a toy or a gadget or a computer. We know these handheld things, they're good at doing that. Giving them all of those components and putting them together. Think about putting computers, Legos, power sources together and tell them, it's yours, go do something with it. So they need that hands-on activities. So when we look at that, and then the way that we are going to do this is that through robotics. Robotics is not the end all, it's the process. Because we really want to get our young men connected to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And if it's by robotics to start off, then great. And we can create more robotics. But the idea is that how do we get these engineers? How do we get these mathematicians and science folks? You know, taking some of the jobs of us that are here. So we move on. Another strong, important part is leadership. Now, many of our young men have leadership, but we have not been able to channel that leadership in a constructive way. That often when they leave schools, they got all kind of leadership going on there. But how do we formalize that leadership in an educational and a structured way? And they're eager to take on the leadership. So when we look at leadership, there are 4 components: communication skills, team building, risk-taking, and opportunity. Now, in team building, how do we get our young men to work together as a team? Sometimes we get so competitive that we hope that we're developing teams, but we get that competitiveness that it's not a team. It's me, I'm the best, I'm doing this, and not that we. We get the me and not the we at times. And what we're looking to do is to get the we. The other is risk-taking. How do we teach our young men to take risks? And how do we get them to take risks on unfamiliar tasks? You know, to take a risk in doing something that you're not good. Give them a basketball. They can shoot it between the legs, turn around, hook shot, throw it over the head, and make it. But then when we give them something that's a little different, they're sort of nervous because they don't want to make the mistake. Or they don't want to say, well, if I'm not good at this, what do people think? So how do we begin to teach our young men to take risks? And those risks can be translated into everyday life situations. Because once when they leave the schools, we want them to be able to take risks, to try something different. In college, when they finish college, to take a risk and take on a career that's maybe not the best career that they may think is for them. Opportunity. When we talked about the inspiration gap, there's also this opportunity gap. I don't think, and I'm head of the achievement gap, I don't think there is an achievement gap. It's an opportunity gap. And like when they said, inspire, if we inspire these young men, provide them the opportunity, then, you know, the sky's the limit. And what we're hoping to do with this is provide them an opportunity to go beyond the things that they feel that they can do. A next goal and factor that we look at is social emotional intelligence. What's that? You know, and that a lot of times we forget with our young men that this is an important component of who they are. We have gotten so that we have built such macho-ness that boys don't feel that they can sort of have that tender spot, or that they don't feel that, how do I work with this other person? I've got to be better. How do we develop, and what we're working on is to have them develop to be a sense of cooperation, working together with each other, being able to understand that I might not do it this way, or he might not do it this way, and understand that it could be 2 different ways. But how do we begin to work cooperatively and figure out the best way and learn from each other's opportunities? Confidence. You know, a lot of our young men got a lot of confidence. We know by that swagger. You know, at times you see them walking around, they've got their walk with them because they're confident. How do we change that confidence in that walk into being confident about who they are and what they can do? And what I mean by what they can do the math. They can do the science. They can become engineers. But we have to develop a confidence in them and say, yeah, you can do that. Some people say, you know, I was bad in math. My mother was bad in math. My father was bad in math. So how can I be good at math? And we've got to sort of give them that skill that, yes, you can. And really begin to give them the opportunities to do that. Vulnerability. Be able to be vulnerable. You're going to make some mistakes. And it's okay. And the value of failure, we see failure as feedback, is that it's okay to fail. You know, there's a book called Failure is Not an Option. I disagree with that book because failure is an option. Short-term failure is an option. And when I say short-term failure, is that you might fail, but let's get up, and let's not have that failure to be a stumbling block of you becoming successful. The three things I like to do is I want you to stop, rethink, reassess, and redo. So when we talk about failures, those are the re's that we want them to do. College readiness. This is where it's at. Because if we get them in the program, we get them to middle school, we get them to high school, then by fortune we get them to college and we get them ready for college, that's where we go. And academics, because sometimes we get so focused on the A's and B's and the MCAS that we miss a piece of the young men. And that piece is some of the emotional, that we talk about, emotional intelligence, but there are other factors that we have to contribute into what we talk about in academics. And through robotics and this, we're going to look at a wide range of student successes, not just the A's and B's, but we're going to look at the total child. College exposure. We have resources right here. There's no way you can be within Boston and within 20 minutes not touch or come within a mile of a university. So we want to expose our students to the various different colleges. We're going to start off with Northeastern, because it's one of our partners. But we're going to branch out, because 5 or 6 blocks down, we're at Wentworth. 5 or 6 blocks down, we're at another university. So we want to expose the young men to these various different universities and tell them, this is for you, and you can go there too. And how are we going to do that? College student mentors. We want our mentors to work with our students on robotics, but we also want them to tell their narrative, how they got to the college, what did they do right, and also what did they do wrong, so that our students are ready and have been familiar with what it takes to be a college student and what it takes to be successful. Pathways to college, there are many pathways. We can often think that there's only one pathway that we can go. Some students might be ready and want to go to college. Some may feel, you know, that's not for me right now, and may want to go some other way. And that there are technology fields that they can go into. There are other ways they can go into. Hopefully we can convince construction to be able to pick up some of our students. But there are other pathways of career success. Now, we see the tree, and we talked about the roots. A solid foundation here, which gave rise to a tree, which therefore gave rise to the fruits of the tree, which are our students. And you know, I could stand here all day and tell you all the great things that we've done, all the great things that we're going to do, and we are going to do some great things with these students. But the best thing that we can have, I think, is when we look at what is it that the students are saying. You know, as adults, sometimes we forget what the real message is. We forget what this whole thing is about. I didn't forget, nor did we, as this collaborative, forget what the real story is about. And we brought to you what the real story is about, and it's about our students. If we could have the video. See, technology is so great, hands-free.
Did you put a tape on top of it? Under it? Because it follows it. Yeah, right?
Well, now I know what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be an engineer. First of all my math classes that I had over there, I always finished first, and so I was just like laying down. And I really like building this thing. I really liked it. I like following the instructions and finding out how to program it and putting all things together. First of all, the first week we were just talking about like the roles we take on and like the people that we meet and just meeting other people. That was like the first week and the second week. The other week we took out the kits. I remember that the kits were the same kits that we used for the summer program because my name was still on it. Yeah, I remember the sticker, my name and my other partner's name was on it as well. So I was like, oh, we're using the same kits. Working with new people that I knew, that I didn't know. And well, since I had more experience with robots and stuff, I had the lead to take on the role to mostly lead. So that was pretty harsh.
I'd just like to finish. If I could have Rainier come up for just a quick second. What we're talking about is this. We've made it. Black man, brown man. We've made it. And what our goal is to make sure that all the other students get the same opportunity to be successful and to make it as we have. Thank you. Thank you.